The main idea of Thomas Hobbes' social contract theory is this: the right thing to do is to follow the rules that other rational, self-interested people would accept, on the condition that others accept them too. Now this is a big confusing sentence, so let me back up and explain how Hobbes gets here. Hobbes starts by asking what human life would be like without any definite political or social structure, in what he calls the state of nature. Some philosophers have thought that the state of nature would be great. It would be a state of innocence where people would all live freely without being corrupted by society or governments. But Hobbes thinks that the state of nature would be awful. It would be a state of war of everyone against everyone, fighting over possessions. I want your house, your spouse, or your food supply, so I attack you. You want mine, so you attack me. You see, Hobbes is an ethical egoist. He doesn't just think that people are totally selfish and only look out for themselves. He thinks that they ought to look out exclusively for themselves and for their own personal interests. So rational people in the state of nature will inevitably end up at war with each other. But this is somewhat paradoxical, because it's not in anybody's interest to live in a constant state of war with everybody else. So that's not a fun situation. So if we're rational, self-interested people, we ought to cut a deal with each other. We ought to make a treaty, a covenant, a social contract. This contract says, basically, I won't attack you and rob you and so forth if you don't attack and rob me. This social contract allows us to live at peace together. It lays down rules that make society possible. Abiding by those rules are in everyone's self-interest, and those are the rules of morality. Except there's a catch. What would really be in my best interest is if I made a deal with you and said, I won't attack you if you don't attack me, and then I double-crossed you when you let your guard down, stabbed you in the back, and took all your stuff. So, why should I abide by the social contract? Hobbes says that you have no reason to abide by the social contract unless and until there's a coercive power in place, a government, a sovereign, with power to punish the contract breakers. Until there's a coercive power, no contracts are rationally or morally binding on anyone. There's one more catch here, and that's what Hobbes calls the problem of the fool. It seems like even if there is a coercive power, sometimes you might be able to get away with breaking the social contract and not get caught. What if I can steal your stuff and evade detection by the police? Then it's in my best interest to do so. The social contract isn't rationally binding on me, even if there's a coercive power, if I can get away with it. Now that's a problem for Hobbes' theory. It seems like maybe he hasn't really given us a reason to follow the social contract, which is his whole project. Hobbes' answer is that it's always stupid to break the social contract because people usually get caught, and even if the police don't catch you, everybody will hate you if they find out what you did. Maybe that answer works, maybe it doesn't. That's for you to think about.